Pete, thank you very much for taking the time to chat to me. We're already in January. It seems like the season comes around pretty quickly. It's Continental Cup week. I want to ask you a little bit before we do talk about the Continental Cup about the season as a whole so far. We're kind of approaching the halfway mark now, and then we're out of kind of the real tough winter months, the Christmas time. And how do you assess how the season's gone and kind of how the team have played through until this point?
Yeah, I think we've grew as a team for sure from day one. I think we faced a ton of adversity, especially the players. Pre-season, 8 of us go with the national team. They left to play challenge matches and with no players, and it took a lot out of them. Then we hit goalie trouble, then we hit forwards trouble, D trouble. We played really short. We've never complained about it because the results have been good. But I think it's made us a tighter group. We're challenging in every front, and you can't ask for any more than that. It's a great league. There's a lot of good teams in this league. People forget that. It's not what it was 8 years ago, 9 years ago, 10 years ago. There's real teams in this league. Sheffield, Nottingham, Belfast. You can keep going. Coventry's been a surprise package. They've done great. Guildford have run a lot of injury problems. Glasgow, a tough team to play against. Dundee, really tough team to play against. There's no easy nights. Do you know what I mean? I'm hoping they'll miss anybody. Manchester as well, sorry. But I think we've gave ourselves a chance. So, there's still 26 games to go, I think.
You talk about that adversity, and definitely the character of your players are shone through. A lot of guys are having to play a lot of games, a lot of minutes. How does that differ, first of all, from teams you've coached in the past? Obviously, the Devils team last year, but also how good is it to have that kind of buy-in and that character on the side when things do get tough?
Yeah, you can't find any success without that. Anytime I've been successful, which I've been lucky I have, but it's always been the players have pulled together and they've not let a lot get to them. They found a way back. I think the one thing with this team is the last few weeks we've found ways to win, and I think that's a really good trait to have. Last 3 games are behind every game, get into the third period, we found a way to come back and win. And I think that shows the power of the mentality. It's grown, but it's a great bunch. They just get their heads down, they come and play. They don't. There's not really much complaining. You always have moments, players and coaches, that things, they don't. A coach is a tough job. You've either sometimes got to cuddle them, sometimes give them a little bit of something they don't want to hear, and sometimes you've got to tell them exactly what they don't want to hear. It's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it. But there's always moments between players, little micro moments, players and coaches. There is. We're not going to lie. Everybody knows that. And they've been awesome at handling that when it's after hand. But this has been one of the least amount of times it had to be done. They're a really, really, really good group.
We talk about your system, your philosophy, kind of your approach to hockey as a whole, and how maybe your teams are very different in how they approach to maybe a Nottingham. I think that's probably why we've had so many good games against Nottingham over the season. Does it help when you've got those players on your side who are kind of buying in with developing your message and developing that philosophy?
That's the key. It's about partnership. You could be the worst coach in the world and have great players and it works for you sometimes. You could be the best coach in the world with the wrong players and it doesn't work. I just think it's just about everybody helping each other, and you got to hold each other accountable. I think we have a good culture here in the dressing room. They handle it well. They look after it. And I think all the goals we set are still alive. So, we've still got a lot to push on to. But I think, we play a certain way. I think people can see how we play. I think the whole league see how we play. We're pretty good defensively, as a unit, and offensively we score goals. And I think our special teams are starting to hot up a little bit as well. With PK, the last 18 games has been through the roof, and with PP slowly but surely coming along. And you want it to come at the right time. You really need it.
I want to ask you about Josh McDonald. He kind of leads the league in points, in goals, kind of having definitely an MVP caliber season. What's it like coaching him now? You've coached him in the past, but in particular this season.
He's more mature now. First year I coached Josh, he probably hated me for 3 months. But then because I was trying to change him a little bit to get him to become more of a team player, because he's a great talent. We have a lot of great talents. Do you know what I mean? O'Brien's a great talent. You could keep naming them. There's a lot of good talents. But he's someone I know really well. And when I knew he was going to come, I was quite excited. I didn't think he would come. And then I managed to talk him into it, and he came, and I think he's loving it, and he's excelling, and he's a leader by the way he plays as well, because he's played in it before. The difference is he believes in it because he's won in it before. So when you get guys that have done it, they know it's about hard work sometimes, and it's about demanding, but they know what's at the end if we keep doing it. And I think he's been really good at that. Never mind the goals he scored. I think just the way he carries himself on the ice and everything has been awesome. And he's a great teammate, the same as them all. Like, that's one of the best locker rooms I've ever been in. Like, they're a special group. Like, whether they win in the end or not, they're a special group 100%.
Can you put into words why that is the case?
Because I don't think there's any egos in there. I think they're willing to... Everybody's got an ego. Everybody wants... when you coach a hockey team, you got to try and give the player what he wants, but you've got to get what you want as well for the team. So it's a balance, do you know what I mean? But I'd see a lot of guys putting the team first, do you know what I mean? And I think a lot of our offense comes from defensive structure because we're so hard. We push people pretty into us and it opens the game up. But I think we're really starting... We've mixed the lines around. We've had to, there's never been... we lost O'Brien for 3 weeks, sadly, do you know what I mean? And we lost so many players that we've had, other guys have got chances, like Dougie right now is playing in the third line, he's doing a good job. So now we get Barrow back, we bring Brad in, and I've left Dougie where he is just now because he's been solid in that line, he's done a great job, they're battling, it gives us some more depth, and I think we just have a good room, and Barrow's not going, oh, why am I not back in that line? He's just like, oh great, I'm just happy to be back and be in the team. I think that's throughout the team.
You mentioned bringing Brad in. There was talk in the press release about how the Devils have looked at him a couple of times over the past few years. What kind of game were you going to expect from him, and what do you want to see out of him on ice? I
think he's a solid team player. He's a clever player. He was playing in a great team in Kansas, the #1 team in the East Coast League just now. He could fill. He's a third and fourth liner, but he could bounce up when there was injuries. And I think he's just not a gamble. There's no gamble with him. His character's good. Everybody says it. He works hard. You can tell already. He mixes with the group. He's a good guy. He asks good questions. So I think he's just going to be a solid player. He's going to work really hard for the team. And I think that's our identity. I think that's where we're at. I think we try to outwork every team we can. And when you have high-end talent that works harder than other teams, you're in. And I think we've been trying to find more and more of that.
Let's talk about the Continental Cup now this week. It's obviously maybe not in the guise that we thought it would be. Arlan obviously not coming over, difficulties for Katowice, we're getting players over as well. How has that impacted your prep, first of all, and how is the team looking ahead of this week?
I don't think it interrupts the prep, do you know what I mean? Kazic is going to come in here, they're missing 4 players, but they still have a really good team. We missed 7, 8 players for the last 4 or 5 weeks, and we were still picking up points. Don't be fooled by that. They're a really good team. They get Polish internationalists. They were a Pele nation last year, so let's not be kidding ourselves on. They're missing 4 players. It's going to really change them. It's not. I think, honestly, I think it's great we only have 2 games. It's just came at the exact time for us, to be honest with you. It's in Cardiff. It's great. Last year we fell short, but if you think back last year, I thought we dominated the first game and we just get caught a lot. So we've talked a lot about being really responsible, even if we dominate the puck at times. Just don't get caught with them pushing and going the European game. We've talked a lot about that. We talked a lot about discipline, but we talked a lot about playing our game. When we play our game to the best level, we can play against anybody, and especially in these tournaments and in our league. So we don't need to change a whole lot. We just need to be ready to play. And I think you asked about practice now. I think there's been a buzz when we've seen a couple of set of legs coming in, lifted the whole room. I think we haven't even practiced much the last month because we had low numbers and we had a lot of games. And guys are enjoying practice in the last couple of days. So we'll see what it takes us. It's good also to get away from constantly having to win. You want much choice, got one. You constantly, whether we talk about it all the time, it's not about that, we don't, but it's in your head. And now it's a tournament and we go and play the first game and we want to win. Of course we do. And we go and do what we can and see if we can win. And if we win the first game, then we go to the last game to try and win something. And it's 2 games to win a European championship. That's kind of cool, do you know what I mean? I think the only other team to do that was Corey Nielsen's Nottingham Panthers. So I'd like to get one over Corey as well as my friend to say I've done it as well, do you know what I mean? But we just take it, it's a process, we take it a bit at a time, do you know what I mean? I think mentally we're in a good place.
What would it mean to be the second UK team to win the Continental Cup? It doesn't happen often. Belfast have come up short.
It'd be the first Welsh team, wouldn't it? So that's a good thing, do you know what I mean? But yeah, I just think, see the Sheffield Steelers and the Belfast Giants, they knew how to win in the end when they won their trebles. And you want to play against the best teams, you got to find a way to win. We have to experience that. So we'll give it everything we can. But again, the 2 good teams, like Grenoble's a good team as well, really good team, a lot of skill. I watched them play last night again against Angers. Really good game, a lot of speed, really good. We're going to have to be at the top of our game. We're going to be highly disciplined. We've got to execute with them without the puck. They're going to be awesome games. But I think we're ready for it.
It's a very different occasion to the games we've had in this building so far this season. Obviously, there's a trophy on the line. Is there a different atmosphere in the room as well?
You know, like, it's hard to come every single night for a player and be ready, like, you know, within them they're ready to go. But I think they know there's something in the line, so I think they're going to bring not that they don't, do you know what I mean? I just think it's a lot easier for a player to get up for it. Do you know what I mean? I think that's the most important thing, because he knows there's something on the line. But I think this team will get up for it anyway. I just think we got to be smart, and we got to be patient, and we got to be very, very aggressive all over the ice in the right ways.
This time last year, Katowice came into Cardiff, and there was a huge lift on that Saturday night in that game. It was one of the best atmospheres we've had in this building, maybe ever. We're going to expect that again. And how much of an impact and how much of an asset will the fans be this weekend for the team?
I think the fans is important. I feel like getting in better. Do you know, I said at the awards night last year, it would be good if we could create a better synergy between the fans and the team, and we can push each other along, you know, and I feel it coming at times. You know, I remember the Nottingham game especially, like, we were down and they could see the guys were working hard, but they pushed them and it came. So I think my message would be, we need you more, you know, like, push the team. You know, not every game goes how you want, but keep pushing them. There's been moments they've picked a team up. You know, it's a little thing, like, it sounds really stupid, but when the national anthem's going, like, I would like to hear the crowd singing louder than the recording, because I think that's a really powerful thing. Do you know, and in big games you hear it more. Do you know what I mean? I remember when we came to the Old Rink when I was young, in the old Premier days, that used to be the best part of the game. We used to stand and like, this is nuts. Like, you could hear it, they were singing it, it was on top of you. And I think we're slowly but surely getting a bit of belief here again. Do you know, I feel there's a belief, do you know what I mean, that we can build something. Because the one thing they can't say about this team is they don't compete. They compete hard, this team. Do you know, they don't quit in any game. You know, if they have a bad night, they come back and rebound the next night. They put everything into it, and I think the fans can see that. And if we can synchronise that between everybody, I think it could be very powerful, I think.
You talk about that kind of impact of Welshness, of togetherness. You're almost an adoptive Welshman at this point. You started very early on in your kind of off-ice career in Cardiff, back here now as well. Personally for you, if you do win this, where would it rank?
I think it's hard. I don't think it's like, you know, like, I don't think winning with the national team will ever be taken away. I think in Hungary when we went to Pool A when no one expected it, that'll never change. Do you know what I mean? That gives me shivers just now. Do you know what I mean? That'll never take that away. I think winning again to go to Pool A in Nottingham was an amazing experience because it was at home and my family were there. Do you know, I don't think I'll ever take that away. I think like the other championships, and like probably the one in Germany was a really cool one because I got fired in the DL at Christmas time, and then I went back to my old team and we won a championship. Do you know, it's kind of a crazy story. It only happened 3 times. But I think for here, I think it would just be a really great thing because it gives them what they want here. Do you know, like, you know, the owners, Todd, Katrina, Corky, everybody, do you know what I mean? Like, Muds, guys, people have been here for years, the fans, like, they want the team to be successful. And because they were used to it, you know, in a really 3-4 year period under Lotto, who'd done an unreal job, do you know what I mean? And when we want to do it as well, and I think it's just it's hard, do you know what I mean? But we put ourselves in a real good position, and I trust this team, do you know what I mean? I trust them to do everything they can to bring it, do you know? And I think for us, for me coming back, I think it'd be really cool to win something in this country, and maybe one day win 2 things, maybe one day win 3 things, you know? Like, you've just got to keep building, but to get to that stage, you got to win the first thing, and we have a real opportunity against 2 good teams, but we're a good team as well.
You talk about that springboard. You've put yourself in a great position in the league. Regardless of how this weekend goes, how do you want to use the experience now going forward with a league charge on? I
just think, like, it's different hockey altogether. You'll see it. The hockey's totally different, but I think the league thing is, you know, we play Belfast 4 times, Sheffield 4 times, Nottingham 3 times. I'd rather play their teams than play the other teams because we've got up for those games, and they're really good games to be involved in. Great clubs, all of them. You know, and I'm not disrespecting anybody else, but when those teams are kind of challenging in it, you want as many games against those teams as you can, because then it's kind of head to head, and every game becomes a little bit of a final. You know, and I think guys like that, it keeps the hunger up. But I think for us here, you've got 2 games to win a championship at home. You know, and I think we know that, and I think I want to see the team take that step, that they can take ownership of it and they can bring the best they have with and without the puck to get it over the line, so they learn what it feels like to win as a group. Because then when that group feels that and they know what it's done to take them there, then you get that experience to take you to the next time. Do you know what I mean? You get in those big moments, you can lean back in those experiences. That's all that happened in Ravensburg. We lost the final the year before against Frankfurt, and then the second year we'd been in the final, so they knew what it took. It's all that happened with the national team. We lost twice the first 2 years I coached it in the gold medal game. Then we got over the line. Then when we got to the next part where no one expected, we knew how to get it over the line, so we got it over the line again. And it was the first time we survived in Pool A. It was like, oh, we know how to survive now. Do you know? And it was kind of like we stayed there a little bit. The good experiences help you, help a team massively. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's something we want to try and do, but it's going to be tough. Do you know what I mean? But there's a lot to play for the next 3.5 months.
You seem like you're relishing it. Are these the moments that, you know, not only you but the club really like live for?
I tried coaching, you know, a lower end team. It never worked for me. You know, in the DL it was tough. Like with so many injuries, I really didn't like the pressure of losing. I didn't enjoy that. I think I enjoy more the pressure of they want success. They want to see a product on the ice that comes every night and people enjoy it. And we're trying to build that. It's only been a season and a half, and I think from the first day I came here to now, it's better. That's my opinion. I think it's a lot better. Due to the fact we've been really good in recruitment, we retained good players and we added to them as well. But I think everything's an upper level. And for me, yeah, I like to win. It's good to win. Do you know what I mean? It's good to look in the dressing room and see people happy. I'd like to see like the owners and Todd emotional because we won something. Do you know what I mean? That's what coaching is for me. It's not about me jumping around and going, oh, I'm a great coach. I'm not a great coach. I like to feed off other people. And when you win, there's nothing better than standing back and watching everybody else feeling good about it. That's what you coach for, to see everybody else buzzing and to get that belief and grow it. You know, and I think it would be good if we can do that. And again, it's 2 games. Anybody's got a chance.
Finally, and I know you've already set down a bit of a gauntlet for the fans, but just a message to them ahead of this weekend.
I think you should raise the roof this weekend and every weekend after, because we're in like every competition and you don't realise the difference you make. You know, we can feel it when they're quiet and they're not enjoying it. But sometimes that's when you've got to take control and take accountability and you push them forward a little bit more. Do you know, and when they do that, like the Nottingham game especially, I remember we scored the 1 goal to get back, the second goal, and you could feel the building going. Do you know, you could feel the same as in Glasgow the other night with like 20 fans there. But that place was noisy, and then we scored the second one, the third one, the fourth one, and all you could hear was the 20 people from Cardiff that drove all that way. Do you know what I mean? They silenced the building, do you know, and I don't think they realise, like, I'm Scottish, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm from a small country the same as Wales, but, you know, the one thing they have is a bunch of passion. There's always belief, do you know what I mean? And when the football team will know their garbage, there's always belief for them, do you know what I mean? Now they have a rugby team they can be proud of, do you know what I mean? And Wales had all that, do you know what I mean? And I think here, you know, we have a sellout every night, which is unreal to back it. I just like to see them really raise the roof, do you know what I mean? And make this like a real bouncing place, a real hard place for teams to come, where it's noisy and there's good synergy between the fans. I can feel it. I want more.
Pete, thank you very much for your time. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.